Hello, I'm Tim Clark,
I'm Samuel Roberts.
and today on PC Gamer we're going to be climbing together into the warm bath of bloody nostalgia that is Resident Evil 4 on PC.
Disgusting.
It is. Let's check it out. So Sam, fair to say both of us two are Resident Evil 4-aholics?
Indeed, yes. I've completed this game over 10 times. I'm a huge fan of the way Capcom reinvented the survival horror series. It's a game of enormous significance that finally has a PC version, worthy of it really. Didn't have that before. This runs 60 frames per second, looks fantastic.
So essentially it's an HD texture pack, 60 frames, 1080p.
Yeah.
We've both been playing through the sort of opening couple of hours. Impressed so far?
Yeah, I am, yeah. I mean, it sort of jutters slightly on some effects in the game, but like fire effects and things like that, but really to quite a minimal extent. I mean, this is, to all intents and purposes, the definitive version of Resident Evil 4. Looks fantastic. Character models look really sharp. 10 years later, I think this art direction holds up really well. Yeah, superb.
Do you think the strange thing for the game is that obviously you've got to try and deal with this Spanish vagrant while I fire questions at you at the same time?
By all means.
But do you think it's strange that it was, because it was a huge reinvention both for the genre and kind of almost for Capcom itself as well, that in kind of being able to attack the Western market again.
Yeah.
But they sort of fumbled the ball, would you say, after this, because no one's bothering making a Resi 5 or a Resi 6 PC remake because they're quite unloved as entries in the series.
Yeah, I mean, this is a weird sort of like, it came at a time when third-person shooting was on the brink of being reinvented. The over-the-shoulder view was pioneered by Resi 4, but then at the same time the cover system came along, and and that kind of made things a little bit. They didn't really know where to go with the series, so Resident Evil 5 felt like it was kind of influenced by, Committee in some ways, and then Resident Evil 6 was really kind of, symptomatic of that problem.
Influenced by Committee and the film Zulu.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it just got slightly too daft, and this is kind of like part shooter, part survival horror, but it's a very delicate balance. And also, I think Resident Evil 4's appeal is really about pacing. Like, it's one of the best paced action games that I've ever played. Like, the kind of variety of set pieces and the language.
I love this bit, the way he habitually throws himself out of like first story glass windows rather than seeks a different method of exit.
Yeah, it's so dramatic. The first time I ever played this game was on PS2, and I played it in a Spanish mountain village, a remote place.
Is that because you're the kind of method player who just simply won't attempt the game unless he's in the kind of... Did you play like Metal Gear Solid on an oil rig?
Yeah, I did. I played Spec Ops: The Line in Dubai.
Half-Life in a nuclear testing facility. It's
actually just a coincidence, but it was a place where if you went out, you couldn't go outside at night because apparently there were hog attacks. This was like near Granada in Spain, and yeah, so that was it actually made the game a lot scarier than it really is. But no, I've got a lot of love for it. I mean, it's such a...
Why do you think they chose the kind of Spanish, the Ganados, the kind of the parasite-infected kind of crusties? Why do you think they went for... Because they were at pains, I remember at the time, to say that they weren't Spanish, even though they were speaking this kind of pig Spanish dialect.
Yeah, well, I think it's because they wanted to do... I mean, this game encompasses loads of different settings. Like, it does the village, it does a castle, there's an exploding island later in the game, spoiler alert. Like, I think they just wanted a place that could be a completely clean slate, so they just decided, well, all this stuff is possibly in some place in Europe, so it's fine. So, because it's in the middle of nowhere, they can technically do whatever they want, whereas Raccoon City is just a kind of American city,
I always had this suspicion that this was their actual view of rural Europe.
Oh, possibly, but... No, it's very funny how the way the locals are presented, and this man comes in to rescue the president's daughter. I mean, the story is extremely silly, but...
Well, it's delivered with such little kind of fanfare, isn't it? You're just with these poor Spanish coppers who we're going to see a little bit more of in a moment.
Yeah.
Something unfortunate happens with them, and then you're immediately kind of armpits deep in pitchfork-wielding lunatics.
Yeah, and I think this opening bit of the game is actually the scariest when... the setting's really quite ambiguous, and yeah, it's the sound effects are quite cloying. There's the chainsaw guy as well,
Mr. Baghead.
Yeah, and then I think it gets kind of progressively sillier. Like, there's more and more explosions. There's the men in hoods and castles, and yeah, it does get quite daft. But
I remember at the time because it came along around the sort of same time as there was a big. It felt like a revival in horror going on generally, sort of like post Blair Witch and stuff, with the use of the woods and that.
Yeah,
and. I guess since then the game has migrated to become more and more of a pure action type experience.
Yeah, I think they didn't have the kind of creative ways to scare people in the way they do in this. Like, the regenerators are some of the most memorable enemies in this game. For example, we have to shoot specific body parts, like with an X-ray gun, to kill them. There's nothing as scary as that really in subsequent Resident Evil games.
He was the one who, if he got too close, would hug you and then emit the spikes.
Yes.
Superb.
Yeah, it's quite nasty, and there's nothing really like that in Resident Evil 5 or 6. So it's just all about kind of ammo, and it's ridiculous Michael Bay style action.
You're going to get yourself killed by this.
I am. How embarrassing!
I notice you're playing using the pad rather than mouse and keyboard, though that has been patched in as an option.
Yeah. You can't remap some of the controls on mouse and keyboard, and I'm so used to playing this game with a pad. And I've played this in HD on 360 as well, so I'm quite used to these controls that I couldn't really see myself playing with a mouse and keyboard, even though with the mouse you can land so many more headshots.
Well, because it's a game, isn't it, of precision when it comes to because it's the last one I think in the series where you can't at all move and fire. So when you're confronted by multiple villages, multiple enemies, it is almost like an old arcade game where you're trying to go, I'll kneecap this guy and I'll do this guy in his kind of in his crotch, and that'll wing them, and then I'll lob a grenade into the kind of remaining morass of them.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lovely kind of tactical, those little moment-to-moment sort of combat scenarios are great fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Like this whole kind of opening area is a bit of a sandbox. I mean, you can go in all the different buildings. There's health items dotted around, stuff you'll only find by exploring, and then it's very nicely done. I mean, this is a big opening area, and I think that
there's one of our police chums.
Yeah.
For you, the investigation is over. But yeah, if you're using a mouse and keyboard, like I know Wes said he thought it was perfectly serviceable, didn't he, in the review, but it would feel to me like eating steak with chopsticks or something. That's a terrible analogy, but I'm going to stick with it.
Yeah, because I can eat steak with chopsticks.
Maybe that would be fine. Maybe that would be alright.
Yeah, actually, they seem pretty friendly here. If I don't actually get involved with the fight,
this is what I don't follow. Yeah, if you don't aggro them, then effectively they'll just go about doing some light farming, even though they're absolutely raddled with monstrous genetic parasite.
Well, let's see what happens when I kill their chicken. Oh look, they're livid. They're coming for me. That's it now.
Well, understandably.
Yeah, absolutely.
You try going into any Iberian village and gunning down the livestock. This is precisely the reaction you'll get. This is documentary stuff.
Absolutely. I realise I'm playing this in a way that is just designed to conserve ammo, which is probably a bit dumb. And I'm going to die if I don't move right now. So yeah.
I was playing this the other night, and you need to head for the bell tower, don't you?
Oh yeah, there's the bell tower. This house as well has the shotgun in it, doesn't it?
The shotgun as well. This is going to be a big claim, but I think it's as good a shotgun as you'll find in games this side, probably of Doom 2's super shotgun. Yeah, the kick of it and the way it blows enemies like clean off their feet.
Yeah. It's a lot of this game's about crowd control as well, because you do get swamped, quite easily, and it's about just kind of trying to contain enemies as well, particularly when you've got this many coming for you.
You need to concentrate on Daddy Chainsaws on his way.
Yeah, it's that noise as well. It's the way it kind of just starts up, and they're coming.
You couldn't hear that because unfortunately I'm the one wearing the headphones, but it's had that almost kind of cat-like sound to enemies. The audio design's superb, isn't it?
Yeah, because they kind of smother the sound effects, so everything sounds like it's a little bit mono coming through the speakers, which I think actually works really well. Like it's kind of otherworldliness to it.
There's the shotty.
Here it is. Yeah. All right, then. Come at me, bro.
There's that. I think one of my favourite sequences in all the Resident Evil series. And I've played all of them. I don't include the Gun Survivor games. I don't regard them as canon. I've played all the main games through. But there's a sequence later where you're with the dandy-ish Spanish cop and you're holed up in a Luis, yeah. And you're quickly trying to shove chest of drawers in front of windows, and you've got like a few sort of minute or so to barricade the place up before they really come at you. That's such a good set piece.
It's in the house, isn't it? And it's almost like a kind of horde mode or something.
Yeah.
It's like they're coming, prepare for them. It's very nicely done. Here we go, ladder. That feels good as well.
Suckers.
That's 4 people pushed down the ladder. That's really good. Oh, I should probably get inside the house, shouldn't I?
Wait, did you get Chainsaw Dude then?
He's right there. I shot him, but he always gets up.
It's an incredible. You're definitely not going to die. There he is.
We'll see about that. Someone next to me. Yeah.
It's an incredible game for people who like to faff around in inventory screens as well.
Yeah, it's like inventory Tetris.
Yeah, maybe when we get past this group, we'll have a little look and show.
If we get past him.
I've got confidence in you now. Head for the bell tower.
I think it probably is time to run, isn't it?
I think it was time to run about 3 minutes ago.
I don't know what I was hoping for.
Are you out of health?
No, I've got a herb. Let's sort that out.
Have you got any eggs?
Eggs
Eggs provide vital sustenance in a.
I think the moment I knew Resident Evil jumped the shark was when in Resident Evil 5, you as Chris Redfield have the ability to say "Give me an egg" to someone. I think that's when they went slightly too silly.
The script wasn't exactly like David Mamet in the previous Resident Evil, so was it?
No, that's true. That's true. That's the other thing is that they completely reinvented the visual style of Resident Evil as well. Christ, look at that! This is not going well.
Well, this because it was. I mean, it was always billed as a reboot, the fourth game, but this was the second major attempt at it because they effectively threw out a half-done project that was failing, which they'd shown off, I think, at an E3 before, which it still had Leon as the protagonist, but the main kind of footage was him like walking down a kind of.
It's kind of top down, wasn't it? The camera was.
Well,
different.
it was a bit different. He was being chased around by like some big dude with a hook, and they were talking about trying to get the scares back into it. It never kind of really felt like it was. Well, it felt like a troubled project, and then Shinji Mikami was brought back on board essentially to rescue it. He's now obviously subsequently left and went off to do.
Oh, that's over. I was just about to land a shot, but there you go.
You were so riveted by my whittering on about Mikami that you had your head cut off.
That's the thing. Is like this was the last. Well, actually, this wasn't the last project that he did for Capcom, but it's the last one he did in house.
Yeah.
And he went in and did like God Hand after this, like a completely off the wall brawler where you create your own combos.
He's currently doing the
Evil Within.
The Evil Within, isn't he, for Bethesda?
Yeah, did Vanquish. He's. If you look at that man's track record, it's incredible. I like the idea that he came back to Capcom to reinvent a series that he created. And that was the other thing, is that this was originally meant to be a GameCube exclusive, one of the Capcom 5.
The Capcom 5, yeah.
Beautiful Joe, like Dead Phoenix and PNO3 and Killer 7.
Killer 7 is one of my favourite games of all time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
I think Vanquish would work as a PC, PC rebuild.
It really would, yeah. I think that with those kind of games, that was kind of Capcom at its peak for me. Like in the noughties on PS2, GameCube, Xbox, that was the best of Capcom. And yeah, I definitely would like to see more of those kind of games ported over to PC.
I'm going to change your Cockamamie controls to.
So that's the control scheme I'm used to. You can.
I want right. Yeah, that's fine. You don't invert those, Sam. That's good news. I don't think we could have continued working together if I found out you're an inverter.
No, I can't stomach inverting. I think it's
against God's will.
Yeah. Hopefully it's a dying art. I try and eliminate it wherever I can.
Oh, crikey. Well, I'm on fire now, so I'm doing considerably worse than you.
Oh, careful, Tim, because I've got it on normal mode, so we don't want to look like we're bad at this or anything.
I can't work out how to get it down. This was my slight. This is the peril of the over the top views. You can't entirely work out where you're going always. There we go. To hell in a handbasket is the answer. Hang on.
Oh, look at that. Intimidating.
It was also one of the games that really popularised, although we haven't managed to get to a single one yet, quick time events.
Yeah. And it did them really well as well. Like this was post Shenmue when they were.
I'm going to use all your health.
Do it.
Think of that.
That's fine. Yeah, this is post Shenmue. I mean, Shenmue had really silly QTEs, but it was the first time I can really remember them being used in a popular game. Here they're kind of used very, very well. They're even sometimes incorporated in the middle of gameplay. Like one of the most memorable boss fights in this game is with Krauser, and there's a ridiculous Krauser knife fight cutscene in this where you're having to hit commands, and if you don't, you have to replay it. But in the middle of the boss fight with Krauser, you're kind of like scrapping momentarily in between bits of the fight, and it's really, really nicely incorporated. Of course, it's kind of ruined now.
I managed not to save my setup there. That's made a fool of myself. Sure, we can lose that in the edit, eh, chaps? Right, here we go. See, this is my memory of Resident Evil, standing patiently, trying to cool-handed.
Headshot after headshot.
Yeah, one in the spine. And then you run and adopt a new position.
Oh, see, I was always about one shot, sweeping kick, run, one shot, sweeping kick, run.
Sweeping kick wasn't an exact enough science for me to rely on, but then I'm not a man who's completed it 10 times, so I'll defer to your...
Well, then I did die straight away in the first section, so that's kind of embarrassing as well.
I was bothering you, though. It's kind of one of those... Like, you often see with... Well, it's one of the things you often kind of say about games like this. You say like they're a rhapsody in brown, and you'll see brown as a colour palette being a bad thing, but it really does make it work in in Resi 4.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like being colourful isn't
I was
necessarily.
up for a headshot.
It's nice. Being colourful isn't necessarily conducive to good art direction. Like if you look at the art direction of something like Fallout 3, it is grimy and made of real life stuff. But you could see why someone would argue that's more valid art direction than something like Final Fantasy, where the world's a lot more random and colourful. In this, they do take like you say, mundane kind of like horror style settings and they make it look beautiful. There's a real language to the way it's put together. It's not, but far from generic.
Sam, guide me. We can make this.
I think you've got to stay in this house. That's how I remember it. You push the shelving unit against the door, and you just wait here till the bell rings, and then.
When you
and
say
that's
wait
like-
here, I'm pretty certain they're gonna get inside.
Well, you got to get to that top floor and just hold them off with the shotgun.
Oh god.
That's the way I remember doing it. And then the cutscene at some point just randomly arrives.
Do you think it's on a time, or do you think it's the number of dudes I've managed to shoot?
I think it's a timer. I think it is. I've never worked that out actually in all the times I've played this.
You're correct in saying we shouldn't have crapped away so much ammo then. Shotgun.
It does look really nice on PC. I was wondering if it looked too smooth in 60 frames per second, but it doesn't really. Cause,
No, I think it's great.
Yeah.
The pesetas are the in-game currency which you spend at the now iconic merchants
Yeah.
shop.
Who never, another flaw of the later Resident Evils, he never returned. Or-
Bizarre because he was so popular, he was so sort of meme-worthy, wasn't he?
Yeah. And it's not like there was any kind of logical problems in bringing him back, considering in this he jumps all over the world at random. It's sometimes in two places at the same time. It's just, he was a kind of a great character. Everything in this game feels like kind of handcrafted, and even I don't know what the purpose of him is, but he's got the kind of Ganado's glowing eyes. He's got his own kind of mythology to him. It's really weird that the following of that character.
Oh, that was a crucial jump out the window.
It's not bad, but where do you go next? That's the question. We know that fire.
Oh, he's reloading at a disastrous time.
Lovely. Look at that. It's over, Tim.
No, I'm alright. I'm still
I mean,
kicking.
best of luck to you, but I think this stream is.
Did we have any health left?
You got an egg? Eat an egg.
Egg time. No, it's a simple matter of putting some distance. Come on, turn around.
I think you'll make it now.
Do you see this as likely to herald Capcom turning out any more?
I don't know because this already came to PC.
There we go.
There you go.
Easy.
It must be about timing. Because this already came to PC, I'm wondering if it was just a matter of them fixing the port they already had, without knowing specifically how they did it. So I don't necessarily think it will, but I would think that if this sold incredibly well, then it would make them think twice about exploring their back catalogue, bringing something like Akami to PC, just games with a kind of where they might find a new audience on PC.
Do you know what the price is?
It's $14.99.
That's pounds.
Yeah, and it's $20, I believe, in
Okay.
US. Yeah, so I think that's a reasonable fee for a port of this quality. There you go, Tim. Well done. Give it another 30 hours, and we might actually complete the game.
Classic Capcom assistant there.
I also like that because this came out in 2004. This obviously predates iPhones and tablets and such.
Yeah.
So look at.
What's she meant to be phoning up on? Like a Leica camera. by the
a
looks of it.
two screen walkie-talkie.
So yeah, the old inventory screen is represented as an attaché case, of which you can get various sizes of case as you go on in the game.
Yeah, but and they always give you bigger and bigger items, so you're always kind of reconfiguring it, spinning them around, and it's kind of game within itself, really.
I need the button. Yeah, you can move the stuff around in. So once you get the really big ones, it becomes like an obsession to sort of really neatly, if you're OCD like me, really neatly stack your ammo in the correct way.
Do you always store your grenades close together?
Yeah, I
That
keep
sort
all
of
the health items together. Sometimes I go by colour coding as well.
eggs in the same place?
Yeah, it's a sickness really.
Yeah. And I never tend to buy the rocket launcher in this. It's too much of an indulgence
No,
in terms of your
no.
inventory.
As I recall, it can be worth because you can upgrade all your weapons pretty significantly. I remember it being fairly handy to upgrade the basic pistol, which is unusual because you could almost turn it into. There's so much pistol ammo lying around. You can make the basic pistol a really effective.
Yeah, like almost like a sci-fi weapon in the amount of ammo you can carry. Yeah. I also like how there's it does kind of these weird kind of one-off things, like when you get the side quest to shoot all of the blue jewels, and then you get another pistol from the merchant if you do that. Like, it's just
Yeah,
a really
that was
weird
quite-
challenge.
That was quite tricky, wasn't it?
Yeah, because you have to go around that whole kind of farm bit, which is not too far along from here, and then yeah.
I've got completely lost some, so I'm going to hand it.
Hey,
I'm
no
gonna hand
worries.
the,
I can
the
remember-
pad back to you.
I can remember exactly where to go. It's all good. It's up here. Got to watch out for the traps though.
What do you think has been like the successor to Resi in terms of sort of third person shooty bang?
Well, everyone thinks Dead Space, I guess, which I can sort of see.
Oh, the last Dead Space was shocking.
It was awful, but the first
I
one,
thought 2 was wonderful. 2 was really almost sort of set the series up to really kick on, but
yeah, it's the first one I suppose is probably closest to Resi, I think, in that regard. Silent Hill certainly didn't take that, that and run with it really. That's a series that stagnated for quite a while.
so here are those. If you equip your pistol, here are those blue medallions you were mentioning just a second before.
Indeed,
and you pick up all this jewellery as you go as well, don't you? You've got a couple of spinels, which I'd never heard of before. I played Resident Evil 4.
I never heard them since actually. No,
They're a sort of a large jewel. But
exclusively made in Spain
Yeah.
and stored in Spanish mountain villages.
They won't accept anything else in Spanish shops. It's spinels or bust.
Or pesetas, which is out of date as well. Amazing. Oh crap!
I have to say that was cat-handedly.
I'll tell you why. It's because you changed the control system. That is exactly why. So you've got it. So yeah, I thought so. There we go.
You've bossed the kick out there to prove your superior expertise.
I have. Yeah, well, I'm all about the kick. That's I'm all about that in Resident Evil games because I like the ludicrous animation that goes with it. Spinning kick every single time. It just seems like such a flashy way of doing it.
You've got extra days out here.
Oh, thank God.
Fix our health problem.
That's good.
Are you going to shotgun one of those cows?
Yes, is the answer to that. I know my girlfriend wouldn't approve, but she's not here right now.
I'm not sure anyone would approve.
But it's really sad though because they don't have a proper dying animation, so they just sort of fall over. I mean, look at that.
God.
I went, look at that. It didn't even die.
They shrugged it off.
Fair enough. Look at that. That's horrible.
When you said it hasn't got a proper dying animation, what do you want? He collapsed to his. He collapsed to his.
I wanted to do a really
hoof and-
dramatic death where it does collapses to one hoof and just lets out a super moo and then just dies quite tragically. Look at that. Do I kill another cow, Tim?
No.
I'll stop that.
No.
Fair enough.
I'm already going to have a long hot shower after this.
Right, let's eat an egg. That's got to happen. I like the eggs in this cure flesh wounds. That's classic Capcom logic right there.
It's got the. I mean, you have to kind of mine the whole environment for all the cash and the pickups, don't you? It's classic sort of survival horror style.
Yeah, it's really good for that sort of stuff. I also like how actually I'll go show you a really good example of this. Another really kind of strange one-off puzzle where there's a piece of jewelry just sort of hanging there. You got to shoot down a kind of a sort of base to stop it from getting dirty, and if it's dirty, it sells for less with the merchant. Why is that in there? I love that those sort of ideas somehow made their way into this game.
It's that sort of stuff that stops games coming out on time.
Yeah, that's why it took them so many years to make. Yeah, this. What a weirdly specific puzzle this is. Okay, so
See, I'm a slapdash. I just shot it into the dirty water.
I thought with your inventory OCD, I didn't think that would do at all, Tim.
Yeah, but it's my lack of being able to think laterally that never even considered shotting the dirty well as an option.
Is that the first time you've seen that done?
Yeah.
Admittedly, a friend of mine did tell me to do that when I started the game. That was the only piece of advice he gave me.
I've finished this game 3 times, and now you're still strewing new wonders before me.
Amazing. The other thing is you get Ashley really early on in this game. So a large part of Resident Evil 4 is an escort mission, but a good one.
Ashley being the president's
Ashley Crane.
coquettish young daughter.
Yeah.
But she's actually interesting in that she's one of the few escort characters who's not hugely annoying to look after, because generally when a fight starts she'll go and climb in a bin or something.
Yeah. And she vanishes for large parts of the game as well. There's no way I look dignified doing this. Oh,
Oh, how did you survive that? You didn't dodge.
no,
You
I
didn't
did it.
jump out the way. It looked like one over you.
No, I did it. I did it all right. It's all good.
Well, we'll collect these. We'll collect these 2 Spinels, and then we'll wrap up. I think.
Absolutely.
Overall, Sam, would you say worth a purchase, worth revisiting?
I think so. I've owned this on every single format, and I would definitely buy this again. I mean, just to have it in my Steam library, but it's a really nice port at the same time.
I love this game, and I'm not much of a nostalgist, but I think it still holds up against today's action games actually, and is well worth. For the shotgun alone, is well worth investing in.
Absolutely, yeah. In terms of pacing, there is no better action game than this. It remains #1 when it comes to that area of design. Definitely well worth picking up.
Cool. Cheers for watching, everyone.